All right, we're all here. Fantastic. Let's get going. We'll record this. You guys ask me every single time I put this up if it's going to be recorded. They're always recorded. You'll always find them in the Evolve with Healy Facebook group, and then about 24, 48 hours on YouTube, so you can use it. So share it out with your friends, and excited for this one. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And of course, us here in this Healy community, we always hear this statement, this famous statement from Nikola Tesla, but what does it actually mean? Like when we're talking about tapping into the quantum field, when we're talking about frequency and vibration and how it heals the body, what does that actually mean? Well, today we are joined by 4 incredible experts inside of this area who are going to help us to understand this area a lot better. Because who would agree? We would all love to understand the secrets of the universe and energy, frequency, and vibration. So big welcome for you guys today. I don't know if you guys all want to give them a hi in the chat. That would be amazing. And welcome all of our incredible panelists we have on today. Now, if you do, by the way, also have any questions that you would love me to ask, you can pop that into the chat too. And if we get time, we're going to ask that as well. But let's kick off. All right, I'll introduce you. Now, I probably don't even need to introduce you to this guy because I'm sure he's pretty much Healy famous now. Doc Steve, our very own frequency expert, doctor and practitioner for 43 years. Doc has helped...
44 as of June 1st.
Oh, 44 years. Sorry, 44 years. Wow.
I know.
That's a long time of practicing. You've
yeah, started in 1977, actually.
Wow, incredible. We know what Doc does so well is he really helps people really understand how the Healy device works, really understand frequencies. He speaks in terms that people can really relate to, and so I think that's why he's become such an incredible expert inside of our Healy panels. So, Doc, welcome to you.
Thank you.
And then we have to the side here, Leah Ludd, highly credentialed emotional capacity, energy, and brain coach. Wow, that's a mouthful to say, as well as an author, speaker, and host of the I Am Vibrant podcast. Incredible. She also helps coach entrepreneurs and healers and business leaders and really tap into their hidden energy reserves and expand their capacity to lead in a really high frequency way. So welcome, Leah, as well. Incredible to have you here too.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone.
And then we have to the side here, Katarina Harden, who's been fascinated with the nature of reality and Maya, the magical world of energy and quantum physics for 17 years. Wow, we've got a lot of experts on site in here that have a huge wealth of knowledge. She believes we are all creative magicians able to transform and transmute energy with our will and creative imagination. Katarina works intuitively in the moment, guiding her clients to unravel and become conscious and dissolving any outdated beliefs into awaken curiosity instead of fear. She calls her work divine play, which sounds super fun, and includes lifestyle coaching, guided hypnosis meditation, and powerful breath work. So welcome, Katarina. And last but not least, the very beautiful Samaya. Samaya, I've had the very incredible privilege of hanging out with Samaya quite a lot in Bali, although she's now in Mexico. She's a spiritual catalyst, life mastery coach, and founder of the iAwakening 7 Steps training program for your consciousness, as well as iAwakening flow state method. She studied for 17 years, gosh, another one with a lot under her belt, with her spiritual teacher and mastering the art of vibrational medicine. Welcome, Samaya, also to the panel. Wow, we have people that have so much experience in here. Who is going to be so excited to listen to these guys? All right, we're going to start out with just some pretty simple questions. And I would love to know each of your perspective, because you all work in slightly different ways, but kind of in the same space. So let's dive into what is energy. And Doc, I'm going to throw it to you first.
Throwing it to me first. Okay. So from my perspective, I look at it on a cellular basis. And so when I'm looking at energy, I'm looking at the mitochondria of the cell, which means that I'm looking at ATP production. And the great news about having Healy is that when we use microcurrent, which is what the Healy device is, we're actually continuously supplying microcurrent to the cells, which magnifies the amount of ATP or energy in the cell that we can produce by about 500%. And so therefore, the Healy is an amazing tool for increasing energy in our cells and increasing energy in our body. And as we all know, I mean, at least in my practice, one of the things that almost everyone comes in and asks about when I ask them, why are you here? They say, I have fatigue. I'm always tired. I need energy. And so instead of going to Starbucks or taking one of those 5-hour energy drinks, why not just put your Healy on, send yourself some microcurrent and get energy directly into the cells of the body instead of having to use something that is artificial, an artificial stimulant, which ultimately is going to work in reverse, because as I tell my patients, when I'm looking to increase and support their adrenal glands, which is the gland in the body that really is most tied in with energy, if somebody is drinking a lot of coffee, they're actually working against what I'm trying to do with them. And so I have to have them off of all caffeine if I want to support their adrenal glands to help them reestablish energy. But again, we have a marvelous tool. We actually have one of the programs of our basic Healy Gold is the energy program. And I'll tell you, it really works. I came from a long day one day, many hours in my office to a seminar at 7 o'clock. And as I got to that seminar, my head started to go down on my desk, but I happened to have my Healy with me. And I said, wow, this is a cool way of checking this out. I hooked myself up. I ran the energy program. And within about 20 minutes, it was as if I had 3 or 4 cups of coffee without any of the side effects. And so we have a tool right there to increase our energy.
Wow, incredible. So I love that your perspective is very much the physical energy that we really have in our body. Leah, I would love to hear your perspective on what we're talking about when we talk about energy.
Unmute, Leah.
Yep, there we go. Sorry. Yeah, so, what is energy? We are energy. Everything is energy. So I think of us as an energy power plant. We're always creating and generating some kind of energy, and our energy management, if I use that word, comes down to the quality of the energy that is our dominant energy. And I look at it as a circulation. So it's not only what we are surrounding ourselves with, our nutrition, our fitness, everything that we're bringing into our experience energetically to hopefully raise the frequency of our energy, but it's what we're releasing as well. And so it's this continual process of taking in things that lift us up and releasing the discordant energy that would be considered interference. And so that is not only physical, absolutely physical, everything about our brain. Our brain puts out more energy than all the cell phones of all the world put together, combined, one brain. So our brain is a ginormous center of energetic signaling. So are our hormones. So is everything. Every organ has a megahertz, a hertz that it vibrates at. And it's so energy management to me is managing that process of circulation. What are you bringing in and what are you releasing that would bring you down otherwise? And then that inner communicates with the field, which I know we'll get to.
Wow. Hang on. I'm just going to take a little step back here.
Back to the brain.
One human brain uses more energy than every cell phone on the planet. Is that what you just said?
It puts out more energy.
Puts out more energy
than all the cell phones combined.
What powerful, incredible, powerful creatures we are. Wow, that's absolutely incredible, incredible. Wow, thank you for that and sharing that, also that fun fact with us. Katerina, from your perspective.
Hi, and thank you, Taryn and Leah and Samaya and Doc Steve. It's such an honor to have this conversation. I just want to say one of the most fulfilling things for me in this life and has been, I write a lot, I journal a lot. And one of them was just to have these conversations, leading edge conversations, because before when I used to I know I'm getting off topic. I'll get to energy in a moment. But before, I was the only one, it seemed, talking about this. And now here we are, it's really fascinating and beautiful and yay. As far as we understand, energy can be created nor destroyed. And the way that I understand it through my own experience, through the knowledge that I've gained throughout the years and always practicing, is that there's different realms where information exists. And let's say in the matter world, the energy in the cell is finite. It can be depleted. But there is a source of energy which I have tapped into multiple times, which is why I practice yoga daily. It's one of the ways to continuously generate that energy. And it's not based on anything. I mean, people, yogi masters for thousands of years knew the subtlety of the system of the universe and how to transmute and manipulate energy, how to summon atoms even. I mean, there's some pretty incredible things that can be done. And so it's, I've had moments where I remember once having a horrible headache. I was completely tired. I was studying at the Seattle University at the time, and I had a class coming up, and I had just no energy. I was like, how am I going to do this? It's a 5-hour class. I have this presentation, this PowerPoint I had to deliver that day, and I was just a mess. And I parked in the parking lot. I closed my eyes for a moment, and something in me was like, turn up the music, because the music was playing in the background. I turned it up, and I'm telling you, within minutes, I was like, there was energy running through my body. My headache was gone. I mean, it was a miracle. And I think this is why I call it divine play. All of it is divine play, is because we're able to instantaneously tap in and out of frequencies, which of course the Healy is a tool that helps us do that. But I just wanted to give that little example of how energy can just out of nowhere, you can all of a sudden have this burst of energy. And it's almost like timeline hopping, I call it.
Yeah. Amazing. And that's what you really do when you're creating this play work, this divine play.
Yeah, that word actually came to me once. I was teaching a hot yoga class, and it was a pretty large room, and it was intense. We take people through an intense beginning. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And the idea really of yoga is to calm the mind, of course, but using the physical body so that there's this awareness. All of your faculties are in one. They're focused on one thing. You're aware of the breath. You're aware of your drishti, your mindless gazing point, and you're creating space. I always talk about creating space in the body, creating space between the joints, reaching up a little bit higher, expanding. And by the end of class, people are just pooped. Like they're just done. I remember one of my hot yoga classes, I was imagining of crawling out of the room. That's how horrible it was. Like I was, but I was able to transcend that. I was able to transcend that and then become the witness of it, literally. Like I know it sounds cliche, but somehow this happened in my birth process as well. I was able to transcend that. Yeah, I forgot your question now, Taryn.
Which was just asking, where did that whole word divine play come from? And I say
right.
that I'm really noticing like this next sort of level of people tapping into the energy, frequency, and vibration world is more about tapping into joy and to play as a way to really raise your vibration and to really tap into another level of healing. And so I just really loved the word that you had there. Yeah, amazing.
So just to answer the question real quick, the divine play came out of that yoga class. There was just something in a room. There was a very powerful energy, because power is very subtle. It's silent, it's still, and you can feel it. You can feel it in every cell of your body if you really tune in. And then I realized that it was all play, because I like to keep the classes playful so that people don't take it too seriously. Seriousness is just, it's the mark of the ego, isn't it? It likes to take everything seriously, and it's good. There's a place for it, but to do things in play. You know, even when the body's in pain, we can play through it and it heals so much quicker.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, Samaya, our own vibrational medicine guru over here. What is energy to you and your work?
Yeah, so, you know, I see it like energy, we have it in all dimensions, you know, it exists in absolutely every dimension. Is in this three-dimensional world, we're talking about it as our thoughts, our feelings, you know, everything that's programmed into our body, even our traumas are energy, you know, and then when you talk about the quantum field, it's the energy that invisible energy beyond time and space, right, which is more like a healing energy. So, you know, this is the whole thing. If we are really stuck in this three-dimensional world, we are dealing with the energies of the three-dimensional world and matter. And when we are totally identified with that in our ego self, you know, for example, identified with the energy of the ego self and matter, it's really hard to tap into the quantum field where we have all opportunities, you know, all possibilities, the power of healing and everything. So yeah, I see it in many different levels. And we have energy, frequency, vibration in all dimensions.
Wow, yeah. Incredible, incredible. Let's dive into that a little bit further. So, okay, we've got an overview.
Taryn, I wanted to add to what I said because, you know, I was starting out obviously from a more of a doctor point of view in terms of the cell itself, but I want to expand on that a little bit because there is other sides, as we've heard here. And one area that I want to talk about just briefly is the whole area of the energy of the chakras, because they are like energy sources in our body. And if you look at them as the energy sources and the meridians as the channels that actually conduct that energy through the body. About 20 years ago, I was gifted to have a certified 32-day Kundalini awakening experience, which was the most incredible experience that I've ever gone through in my entire life. I honestly believe that it was given to me just literally so that I can experience for that period of time beyond the third dimension. And I can honestly tell you that it was beyond the third dimension. As a matter of fact, most of my friends and people around me thought I was going nuts. But I woke up one day and I felt literally like I was plugged into the wall. I mean, like literally like an electric current was running through my body very intensely. And with that process, all other things started to happen to me. I was just spontaneously able to see auras around everybody. I was able to do amazing types of healings. I had things that are so out of the third dimensional world that today even I can't even believe it happened, but it did. I actually had people following me, strangers on the street, into stores, and I turned to them and they would say to me, "You're a healer," and start quoting passages from the Bible. And people would say, "What is going on?" And I said, "You know, it's just an experience." And I even had one day the most powerful process that happened that today, again, nobody still can figure out how this happened, but it happened because we had observers there. One of my friends left my house and ran back in real quickly and said, "Call 911, call 911. And I said, "What are you talking about?" "There's a guy in a hospital gown laying on the street in front of the entrance to your house, literally going through like a seizure." And I ran out, and sure enough, I called 911, the fire department. I ran out, and there's this guy barefoot in a hospital gown, just literally starting to seizure. And I called 911. I said, "Stay with this person." I said, "Of course I'll stay with him till they come." So the fire department comes and stuff. It turns out he literally was from a hospital more than 2 miles away from my house. And when they asked him, he has no idea how he got to my house. He literally doesn't know. He was in the last thing he remembers, he was in his hospital room. The next thing that happens, he's laying in a hospital gown with barefoot in front of my house, probably to get a healing or something of that nature. But those are the kinds of things that were happening to me during that period of time. And so there are other levels of energy that we can create. You know, I've been a meditator for over 40 years. I think one of the reasons that did happen to me is that I have a meditation practice that I do every day. And you can actually harness the healthy energy that is stored in your chakras. And if you're as lucky as I was, I know it's a once in a lifetime type of an experience, but you kind of create a Kundalini awakening experience. And if you really want to know what energy is, that's the ultimate. So I had to throw that in there.
Wow.
Yeah, it was wild. Trust me, it was wild. I was actually afraid at one point that I would never end, and then what was I going to do? Because I couldn't work for that amount of time and do anything. I was so kind of distracted out of my body. I literally was able to read people's minds, to know where I would be able to say to a friend at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you were at this location doing this and that. They said, "How did you know?" I said, "I just don't know." But so it's beyond the beyond. And again, I really feel that that was given to me just so that I can have an actual personal experience in my physical body of going beyond the three-dimensional space. And I knew that that was set up for what's happening, obviously, in my work. Then my work in frequency medicine, and then my work with Healy. It was always, it was a path that was given to me so that I could be where I am at today and can, actually talk from my own personal experience.
Mm. And I mean, I guess that really does start to show they are those secrets of the universe, and how we can tap into that, and how we can tap into something that is really, really incredible in that space. And we're very lucky that we have this incredible device that has and does tap into the secrets of the universe. It does tap into energy, frequency, and vibration. Now, I'm going to ask each of you, what is frequency and how is it that Healy is really tapping into that?
Well, everything is frequency. Everything has a frequency. It's just on, a different level, or frequency basically is how many. It's just a measurement of how things vibrate in a certain limited period of time, like per minute, cycles per minute, or hertz, if you would. And so there's all types of frequencies. I mean, if we think about it, light is a frequency, color is a frequency, sound and music is a frequency. So we all, the universe is filled, the universe is frequency, and we're all just various aspects of it. I mean, even, your desk or your chair is made from frequency, and it's the level of the vibration in terms of if it's, vibrating at a slow speed, it's more solid. If it's vibrating at a faster speed, it could be liquid or it could be gas. And so it's just the movement, of molecules in a specific space. And that basically is what frequency is. And we are all frequency. And the Healy, allows us to, because it encompasses 144,000 unique frequencies, it allows us to be able to tap into all of those realms. Some of the frequencies are more on the physical level, some of the frequencies are more on the emotional or mental level, and some of the frequencies are on the spiritual level. And so with the Healy device, we can literally tap into every one of those levels. So it's exciting to be able to have that access point.
Yeah, incredible. Leah, how do you explain how frequencies are used with Healy?
Well, so just starting from what Doc shared of our vibration, and that it's, a speed basically, or cycles per second. The thing about waves and quantum physics over Newtonian, when it was believed we were just solid and everything was solid, is that waves can't be isolated. So it's this quantum entanglement happening all the time. We can do all the things that we know to do to have the purest, highest vibration, and yet there's always interference, and it can be constructive interference or it can be destructive interference. And so our frequency and in this entanglement is for me, what's so incredible about Healy is that we can do all the things our mind knows to do. And then we have a partner that knows what we don't know, that we can literally use an analysis and see the things that our mind can't even comprehend, and deliver the exact frequency so that harmonizing effect, that constructive interference is coming in and bringing us back into harmony or a higher frequency. And so even though, I myself, I use the things I know. If I use bioenergetic boost every day. If I happen to be right now actually, and Doc has been a great support in this as well, I'm detoxing a bump in my breast right now. And that's how I describe it, because language is frequency. So I don't use any other words for it. And even though I know I can support my lymph system with Healy, I can use the kidney programs, I can use the liver programs because I have gene SNPs and methylation pathway issues and all of that. I can also use the resonance and the aura analysis and the homeopathic and the psyche to find the things that I don't know so that I can deliver the frequency, whether I realized that that's the frequency that was required to harmonize or not. So to me, it's just we've got thought management. We can, to our best of our ability, and this is where capacity comes in, is managing emotion, not letting emotion, not stuffing emotion down, because emotion is energy, and if we stuff all that in, that builds up. But build our capacity to be able to feel something and release it. And now we can take it to such a deeper level by having the language that the cell speaks, the exact language the cell speaks, that also analyzes and then delivers exactly what will bring us back into harmony.
Amazing. Would that be the easiest way to describe a frequency? It's the language the cells speak?
I love that definition of it. Yeah, a cell is electric if we look at it that way. In particular, it's the proteins are receptors and they're receiving frequencies, and that's determining what direction is given to the cell, what the function and what the structure is. So yeah, I look at frequency as the language of a cell, and that's a cell of anything, so it's not just the language of a human body cell, it's the language of the field cell, if we wanted to describe
it's the
it in
language
that way.
it's the language of the universe, actually.
Yeah.
Would be a better way of even describing it.
Yeah,
because everything
absolutely.
in the universe is comprised of that.
Yeah. And would you sometimes say, like, when we use Healy, it's almost it's sending back the exact right language that we need for whatever is going on in our body? So
well, see, that's the unique aspect of the Healy that really separates it from all other frequency devices. And that's what really attracted me to using the Healy, because I have professional frequency devices in my office, is the ability to be able to have, through artificial intelligence, the exact frequency that your body needs at that moment in time delivered through to you. Whereas all other frequency devices I like to refer to as more static frequency devices. So you have things like, electrical magnetic frequency, PEMF, or you have Rife types of frequencies. But in those types of devices, it's the same, it's almost like I try to tell people there's no such thing as cookbook medicine. Everyone is unique and different, but those other devices, there's a set level of frequency that is given, that you tune that device to treat a specific condition. But the thing is that everyone that would be using that device for that condition, say somebody has a broken arm and you're using a Rife device or a PEMF device, you're basically using the same frequency that's been written down for that particular condition, and every single day you're using that same frequency, even though you're healing and changing over those days. And if I had a room of 10 people that were all being treated with one of those types of frequency devices, they'd all be receiving the same frequency. But we're such unique beings, and I really subscribe to the whole idea of biochemical individuality. And the beauty of the Healy is that when you are connected to the Healy, through our German, cloud, the artificial intelligence specifically selects for you which frequency you need. So, for example, if I'm using a program group that's working towards, say, healing a broken arm, there's about 500 unique frequencies in that specific program group, but it will select only the frequencies in that program group that I need at that exact moment and time. And therefore, the next day, if I run that same program, if I look at my Healy, I'll see that different frequencies are being delivered. And if I had 10 people in a room and they were all using their Healys, and I went around to see what frequencies were coming down for, say, a broken arm, every single person in that room would have a different frequency that has been selected by the artificial intelligence of Healy to work with them based on what they need. So that's really how we are so different than all the other frequency devices that are out there.
So what you're really saying is the other ones are kind of a one size fits all, and
Correct.
we're completely customized every single time you use
Absolutely.
it. Customized to each person and customized to every single session that you're having.
Absolutely the best way to describe it. Thank you for saying that. That's exactly true.
Awesome. Thank you. Samaya, you know, you work in vibrational medicine, and a lot of it about this is about like raising your vibration. How do you use Healy to help people raise their vibration?
Yeah, so I think it's so unique to have a Healy, because if you think about how I was trained by my spiritual teacher, is to really go in and read, soul reading, you know, to read into the quantum field and really find out what is the potential, what is the purpose of this being, you know, and then bring that energy down into the consciousness and seeing what is not in resonance with it, exactly that, and start to neutralize those things and help people to become more aware or conscious where they have their blocks in their subconscious. This was my job, and this is what I was trained to do for years and years and years and years, and read those frequencies and really understand what was going on in people that had blocks and problems, were sick, having diseases, couldn't move forward, depression, anxiety, whatever they were dealing with, you know. What I think is so awesome, you know, and I was thinking all that time, like, oh my God, I'm just one person. There are not that many people on the planet that are willing to go through the training I've been through to actually help people on this level. So it's like something needs to happen. And actually 18 years ago, I actually had a vision about a device that would work exactly the same way. So when I had Healy in my hands, I was like, oh my God, it's here. And that's the first thing I said, it's here, it's finally here. And I was so excited about it. And when I felt it started to work with me, I could feel how it was working in all levels, and I was like, wow, this is it. And how I see Healy is working exactly the same way. Healy can read the blueprint of you as a healthy human being, right? And find out what is not in resonance with that, and then start to neutralize it, but not only neutralize it, because how I experience how Healy works, it put lights to those areas in your subconscious that you were not even aware that was there and blocking you. You know, when we have a disease in the body, it has already happened long time ago before it hits the body. That's the last stage. And that's why it's so important not just to focus on our body all the time. We have to focus beyond the body, beyond the energies of here, and actually tap into a higher state of awareness and consciousness, and tapping into the field that actually can heal us. And you know, when we have a lot of traumas in our body, a lot of stress hormones pumping around in our body, the chemistry in the brain, in our heart, in our body is not in that coherent state. We are not able to be in that 0 point field where we actually heal. You can call it the divine love or whatever you want to call it, source, you know, quantum field. And when we start to open up into that space and then we move beyond that, we can heal absolutely everything. And I think it's so fantastic, because I know that not everyone on this planet can meditate 2-3 hours a day, walk in the forest barefoot, do yoga, do breath work, and all of this hours and hours and hours every day. If you do that, you maybe don't need, you know, a Healy device, but I don't think that so many people on this planet can. And if you see the situation of the planet right now, and where everyone is in stress and anxiety, depression and all of that, we need it more than ever before. Help to release all those blocks so that we can tap into a higher state of consciousness. And that's how I use my Healy in all my therapy sessions, in all my retreats, and of course with all the people I'm working with, and I love it. It becomes my assistant, you know, when I work and tune in, and the more focused and connected and the more I put in the intention of what I'm working with, the more powerful Healy actually works into the field. So of course, a lot of this is also intention. How present are you with your Healy when you work with your Healy? But it's absolutely fantastic.
Wow, wow, that's so incredible. And you know what? I remember, Samaya, when you first tapped into the Healy, and actually this experience happened with quite a few people. So for those of you that don't know, Samaya used to live in Bali, and I sometimes live in Bali, depends when I can get there, and have done for 8 years. And when I very first had Healy, I thought, okay, what are all these very, very tapped in healers going to really think about Healy when I present Healy to them and bring it to the likes of Ubud and, you know, the really spiritual meccas we have around the world? And what I found overwhelmingly is they would put it in their hand, they would feel it just like Samaya did, and they would go, wow, this is me inside of a device. You know, people that literally have been doing hours and hours of meditation, that do work in the jungle, that are really, really tapped in and connected. And unfortunately, we would all love to be able to do that, but we live in a world where we kind of can't. Well, we probably can if we choose to, but you know, we're living in a different kind of world. But yeah, I would just see all of them just light up and be like, wow, this is everything. One, I've been hoping and praying that we would have something like this that would come to the planet for us to be able to share, because there's only so many of you incredible creatures on the planet. But yeah, they would, every single one of them would be like, this is me inside of a device. And so I was always blown away by how many times I'd seen that, and you included, Samaya. I remember that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact, I just want to tap into that a little bit more, that like being coherent in the brain and the heart is what's tapping us into that healing power that we all have, and having a Healy in life helps us with that.
Yeah, incredible. And one thing as well,
And not only that, but Samaya, you know, tagging to what you said, I mean, I think it's also kind of good to let people know that we have a new accessory that just came forward for the device, which is the Healy coil, which is a combination of 2 Tesla coils that are set about 180 degrees apart from one another, which cancels out that magnetic field and creates what we call a 0-point field, which gives us an extreme amount of potential. And the key about that 0-point field is the potential to heal. And we now have the ability to plug that Healy coil right in the back of our Healy device and expand the amount of the type of healing we can do. And it's just another powerful tool that we have now been given in our ever expanding tools and frequencies and programs that Healy will continue to bring out. And so I just wanted to add that to Samaya's work, what she said, because we do have that ability now to work in that what's sometimes called the scalar field with our new Healy coil attachment, which is very, very powerful. It allows us to basically like bridge the gap from the physical all the way up to the spiritual by using that coil.
Yeah, it's incredible. I remember the first time I put the coil on, and I wasn't expecting to necessarily feel anything. And I put it on and went, whoa, okay, I didn't expect that. So yeah, it's really, really quite an incredible device, and very convenient because you can wear it everywhere. Also,
yeah, and as Samaya said, you know, the whole idea of the coherence between the heart and the brain, well, we actually have a program called Coherence with the Healy that is best used with the coil around our neck. And so it does bring that connection or the coherence between our heart and our brain, which is like the ultimate balance. And so, you know, this little device, although it's so tiny, it is so powerful. You know, I've been working with professional frequency devices for the last 20 plus years. They range, you know, from $30,000 to $50,000. And this little device that we have here, this portable device that is a fraction of that cost, is actually more powerful than many of the professional devices that I've worked with. And, you know, the whole idea, again, Samaya, brilliant what you just presented, the whole idea of the aspect of intention, which to me is the key in terms of running the best Healy session you can. Because when you enter into doing a Healy session, it's best to come into it with a very present, positive intention of what is you want to accomplish. Because I find that the stronger and clearer your intention is, the better result that you do achieve. So that's really a really great tool, and thank you for sharing that, Samaya. Very, very important.
And something I was really curious that you also said, Samaya, and just because I like to find language that helps people understand, like common language that helps people understand what Healy really does. You said Healy looks at you like the blueprint of your most perfect self, of what you should, or you know, if you were, it sees you as your most perfect divine blueprint, and wherever you're out of resonance with that, and then helps you really come back into that. Okay, cool. Love that. Love that. All right. Thank you so much for sharing, Samaya, and such an incredibly powerful, powerful woman. Katerina, down to you here. Well, you're down
Yes.
on the way. Hi. I know that
Hi.
you really help shift fear, like transmute fear out of people and get them more into that play space. And how do you use Healy in doing that with some of your clients?
Well, I found the aura analysis tool to be just a gift from God, as the Healy itself is, of course. But I mean, honestly, the aura analysis function and what it can, the amount of information that it can bring and potentially, I mean, I personally, when I first started using the Healy, and Ava Maria, who is like the most amazing person ever, hi, she was doing some scans for me remotely, before I had my own. And honestly, in those first 3 weeks, I had more realizations, more epiphanies than the entire 2 decades of doing all this personal development, self-realization, whatever you want to call it. But, because for me, that's always my number one question is always, what is the highest truth? What is the highest perspective on this circumstance, on this situation? I want to see far enough. I want to remove myself far enough to see the totality. And the aura analysis tool, I mean, it's incredible. I don't think enough people use it enough. As far as I've seen, at least. I know people that don't even use it at all. Oh, what is that? It's incredible. Of course, there needs to be some, you need to know how to read it. And so with when I work with people, I go to the aura analysis right away. And what I help them do is like what Doc Steve was saying and Samai about intention. It's all about intention, and words are just the frequency of our own sound and how we choose to, what words we decide to put out into the field. Because here's something interesting that I realized one day is that every single thought that has ever been thought still exists. Every emotion that has ever been felt still exists, because we're continuously emitting information, whether it's a thought, a feeling, anything, an intention, a vision, a memory, a dream. So we're continuously emitting this information, and it exists forever in what's called the information field, or some call the morphogenetic field. But that information can be accessed. And when Doc Steve had his Kundalini experience, he was picking up information out of the field, because we all have that ability to do that. Unfortunately, it takes some, we haven't been trained, it's all part of the process. It's all part of the circle of why we're here. It's much more fun to discover this than just to be born with it, right? Because to an infinite being, what's more fun than coming into a time-space system where you don't know really anything, you don't know who you are. You have to figure that out. There's all kinds of things that are going to happen. It's going to be exciting. There's going to be suffering. There's going to be adventure. There's going to be joy. There's going to be sex. There's going to be bliss. There's going to be all this. And the best part, you don't know how it's going to end, right? So you don't know how it's going to end. So frequencies are the language of life. That's how I see it. It's the language of life. And because we're continuously emitting information, I know your question was about, how I use it with clients. Well, I use it by finding the perfect sequence combination of words. And oftentimes when I do this work, I honestly don't do anything. I just create the space to be able to receive exactly what the person needs, but not for them. I help them figure that out on their own, because I don't want to fix anybody. Nobody needs to be fixed. Nothing needs to be fixed. Everything is perfect the way it is. And it's continuously changing and evolving, and it's just the whole process, right? And so what I call is the process I call this is using the Healy to supercharge the intentions, because once you find the most beautiful combination of words that have to resonate in the body, it can't just be, I am healthy. It has to be more of like, how do you feel? What does even healthy mean? You don't care about being healthy if you're healthy. You never say that as an intention, right? you don't go all day long affirming that you're healthy when you feel absolutely fine. It's only when something feels off. So the intention is absolutely key. You know, I absolutely agree with that. And so I also help retrain. And by that, I mean, you know, the mind's like a vacuum. And if nothing is specific, intentional is going in it, it's just going to pick up all the debris, all the crap that's around in the information field. Because again, I don't think that any thought, like I'm not choosing these thoughts. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe you don't know what I'm saying. I am choosing the thoughts. However, because of let's say every emotion is its own dimension. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're feeling sad, you only have access to so many thoughts. So the thoughts that exist in the emotion of bliss, or the dimension of bliss, or the dimension of relaxation, just aren't available in the dimension of sadness. They're just not there. They're not accessible. You can't access them. They're not going to come into your field. So the key, of course, is to be able to shift the emotion, the energy in motion, to a different state where other ideas, where thoughts are accessible and we can pick and choose. But the Healy is incredible. It's been a completely I can just go on forever. The Healy is honestly, and like I think Samaya said, I also when I was driving one day, which I was probably in theta, right, which is when ideas come in this kind of daydream state, driving on a highway on the 405, and I had this idea. I was like, oh, what if I imagined it like a knob. However, I imagined a knob that I could turn to be able to experience different frequencies, aka emotional states, or realms of information. Just, you know, I could just turn it and I could experience this, because every single emotion, every single experience and perspective has its benefit, you know, whether we call it bad or good, there's benefit in all of it. And if we're just able to transcend the dualistic paradigm, you know, I think that's why we're all here, is to eventually be able to see beyond duality, beyond Maya.
Sorry,
beyond
I'm gonna watch some more.
So,
Awesome.
yeah.
I'd love to just tag on. I loved, Katerina, what you said about every thought you've ever thought is still out there, and every feeling you've ever felt is still out there. Not only that, this is the time of the Great Awakening, right? That has been prophesied. And so it is the time where each of us, every single person on the planet, is to feel every emotion they've never felt. And so, you know, that's all going into the field right now. And to use Healy to process that, even for especially the clients of mine that are, you know, high performers and leaders, and they're used to sort of having it together and not getting emotionally triggered and not getting, you know, affected by these things. They're feeling it now. And what an incredible tool that we have for release and for processing. I love the bed rest program for our parasympathetic nervous system, because sometimes that energy is you feeling those emotions, but keep in mind, everybody on the planet is feeling everything that they have yet to feel, that they have not felt and processed yet. So thank you for bringing that up, Katerina.
It's incredible, isn't it, that Healy has come to us at this time of the planet? I don't think it's
no accident. Yeah.
It's no accident at all. And I'm pretty sure every single one of us on here, I know definitely felt that we manifested it, and we all have come here for a very specific reason, to do something pretty special on this planet. And I know that our collective community feel that. If pop in the chat, by the way, if you feel like you manifested Healy, because I'm pretty sure most of us feel like we all manifested Healy.
I know I manifested Healy, Taryn. I actually had an actual experience of the manifestation process. I did a meditation because I was looking for a device that I could actually give to my patients that would continue the work that I was doing on a regular basis when they came to see me, you know, once a month, to give them, you know, their homework, because, you know, healing is a process. It's not an event. So it has to be done on a continuous basis. And yes, I could have patients come in and work with them and have them on the device and do some balancing, but wouldn't it be great if there was a device out there that could actually, the person could use on a daily basis and would be affordable and easy to operate, et cetera, et cetera. I literally put that information out there once in a meditation, exactly what I was looking for. And, you know, the thing about intention is the more specific you are and what it is that you put out as an intention, the more likely it is in terms of manifesting it from the universe, because it's already there. And 7 days later, okay, 7 days later when I did that, I was on the internet one night just, you know, doing some research, and a page popped up in German, and I don't speak German. And I looked at this saying, what the hell is this? Put it through Google Translate and said, could this be what I just asked for 7 days ago? And when I looked, there was no contact information or anything about it, because it was back in, a couple of years ago. And just a picture and a name of a person. When I contacted him and he told me about it, I said, oh my God, you know, I put this out there. 7 days later, this shows up. I contacted him. He told me about what the Healy was. And I said, it was exactly what I wanted. I manifested it. And I was one of the first people in the US to get the device because I tapped into the field that it was out there and, was there. But, you know, in terms of what Katerina was saying moments ago about the whole aspect of using the aura scan, which is an amazing program, is that the Healy does allow us to tap in not just on the physical. A lot of people out there, I think, Katerina, are only really focusing on their physical level issues, and that's why they don't do the aura scan. But the Healy allows us to really work with the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. And there's a new program that's been given to us for free that just came in a couple of weeks ago, which is one of my all-time favorite programs now, which is the Creative Homeopathic Psyche program. And this program, which has about 350 sub-programs in it, allows us to literally tap into what I call our shadow self, or those issues from birth or even before birth that we carry with us to be able to be cleared. And so when I ran it on myself the first time, I was stunned. What it showed up for me, I thought were my own personal secrets that nobody else in the world knew about me, but that I only knew. And here it was being revealed to me to be able to finally be dealt with and worked with. So these kinds of things that the Healy allows us to do are just absolutely, incredible in dealing with every aspect of our being. Where I believe that, most other frequency devices out there really don't give us, they're basically physical frequency devices. And the beauty of the Healy is that it really allows us to work on every aspect of ourself, and it's incredible.
It's just coming back. Exactly what does the creative homeopathic do?
What it does is it unlocks for us the areas of what might be called in the vernacular our shadow self. Those issues that we have carried, usually from birth, that are areas that are sort of the opposite of what we're trying to attain in life. The things that block us most about our core being, and it literally spells it right out to you. I mean, it's pretty remarkable that a device like this can tell you. So this is your issue. This is your issue, this is your issue. And in most times you can trace it all the way back to not only, your childhood and birth, but you can start to trace it back to generational issues in your family tree. And that's another, beauty of what the aura does too. If you really know how to use the aura program correctly, it'll allow you to trace it back to specifically whether your issues are coming from your grandparents, your great-grandparents, and all of those types of things. It's just so expansive. There's so much to the Healy. I mean, there's so much available that every person out there will be able to use it to whatever it is they need for their own specific condition. So it's very universal in its approach.
I'm going to get to you, Samaya, because I know you're like jumping at the edge of your seat, but who would love to do a training on how you really understand the aura and really connect in with that? I can see like there are people asking nonstop, like they would love to do that. So we should really organize a practical session where people get to really get their Healy, start playing with it themselves, read it, and how to really read it. I think that would be a really awesome thing for us to really tap in and do. Samaya, you've been jumping off your seat and putting your hand. What do you want to? What goodness have you got for us?
No, I just think I just would like to put in that all the works also, because I think it's so awesome, because it goes from the field and in with the vibration, vibrate. So it works with sorting out the frequencies. And then, as we know that we can affect the gene expression, so it goes from outside in and influences the body, the cells in the body, from the outside in, from the inside out with a microcurrent, right? So, and then you have the coil as well. So I think that's so awesome just to know that, okay, so I work in my field, and by working with my field, as we know, Dr. Joe Dispenza has done a lot of studies on this, that, you can influence the gene expression, right? And if you influence the gene expression, you influence also the cells. And then you change the energy in the cells, and you change the proteins. And that way you change the energy in your body, you change then the chemistry in the body and the brain, and then you affect the field. Right? And then you have the same with the microcurrent, changing, the cell millivoltage, so that it can be a healthy cell. And that will also affect the gene expression, that affects the field. And then you have the coil as well, that connects you and aligns you, to your 0-point field, that connects you to the quantum field of you as the blueprint, so that you can heal much faster. So we have those 3 ways. It works all directions. That's why I think it's so awesome. I just want everyone to know that, and kind of integrate that into the Healy, and when they work with Healy, because it helps so much to understand exactly that.
Yeah.
Yes, and because we're working with the quantum field, I mean, not only can we work with ourselves, but the beauty of our device is that we can work remotely with other people that aren't even in our space. Imagine that. Talking about, working at that quantum level is it's not just for ourselves, but we can actually work with others in a remote situation, which really takes it to me, the nth degree.
Yeah, which is incredible. So again, because I love to find language that is really simple for other people to be able to use, because we're not all quantum physicists and experts like some of you guys. So what you're saying is, when we use the electrodes and the microcurrent and the frequency that way, that's healing the body from the inside out. And when we're using the coil, that's healing the body from the outside in, and then connecting.
In a way, when we're using the microcurrent, we're basically using what we might call the physical level of the body, where we're actually affecting the cell membrane potential. And as Samaya was referring to, by raising that cell membrane potential on a daily basis and feeding that energy into our body, we can always create and reproduce healthy cells, because as we know, every 7 years, there's a complete turnover of all of the cells in our body. So imagine being able to, on a daily basis, raise that cell membrane potential, which is usually optimally at 70%, because we do know that over time, as we age, as we're exposed to toxins, that cell membrane potential starts to drop, and then we have, inflammation comes in, and then we get into chronic disease, and then if we're unlucky and that membrane potential drops even more, tumors start to show up, and then cancer can occur, and then when, of course, the cell membrane potential is at 0, we're no longer living, and that's what separates us when you're alive and you're not alive. It's energy. And so that works more on that level, whereas the coil would be sort of bridging the gap from the physical to the mental, emotional, and even to the spiritual realm. And then, of course, when we use the vibrational approach with the resonance, we're working on those higher levels in the information field where everything is connected.
Beautiful, amazing, incredible.
Changing the cells is also changing the energy of the field.
Yeah, it's all interconnected, right?
Yeah,
everything is connected.
It's all interconnected.
That's the whole
so we're changing
idea.
From the internal out to the outside in. It's all interwoven anyway. So yeah, it's like.
And the whole point is to get this body to a frequency where we can really receive and connect, to the quantum field, where everything there is connected and everything there is organized. We don't need to think through things anymore. We can actually tap into that field and really collapse time and space, and all our dreams in the future can be the dreams in the now. And I think it's important to also understand it works on that level as well.
Yeah, and one of the things I think will all agree, at least on this panel, at least it's happened to me, and I've spoken to a lot of people, that in the year and a half that I've been using the Healy on a daily basis, my ability, my intuitive ability, my what you might call ESP, predicting the future, whatever, has increased 100-fold, because the Healy itself has increases my ability to tap into that information field where all information resides. So I have found personally that I literally can, quote, like tell the future. And I've also become, over the last year and a half since I've used the Healy, more of what I might consider what would be called a medical medium. I no longer actually, when a person comes in to see me now, I'm able to literally know before they even talk to me exactly what's going on in their body and what's happening. And I think that what is happening is that the Healy is a tool. It kind of sharpens our abilities and senses into that, in terms of bridging our gap into that information field, and allows us, that ability to really know what's happening, because we're with the information field. And that's just, I think it's sort of like the cherry on top of having the Healy, is that it actually gives us that ability as we use it on a daily basis. And the only way, as I say, the only wrong way of using the Healy is not to use your Healy. So I highly recommend that you use it on a daily basis.
Yeah, and play with it. Well, Katerina, you're the goddess of play in the quantum field, so play with it.
I was just going to say, Doc Steve, that has been happening to me just, like 1,000-fold more than usual. Exactly. It absolutely is the Healy, but also like this weird, I'll be taught, I talked about the Healy to everyone I talk to, because it's always on me. I'm running a program, or I'm scanning somebody, from in another state, whatever. I'm always using it. And I'm always thinking about the nature of I that's just me. Like, this is what I think about 90% of the time, unless I'm like trying to teach my daughter how to read. But I noticed every single person I talk to, I will automatically address the part of the body that they have an issue with. And I will relate it to the Healy. I'll say, for example, let's say you have a knee problem, or for example, let's say your stomach hurts. I'm like, my stomach hurts right now, and this happens every single day, continuously. It's just, so now I just trust that what I'm going to say, it's going to be their body. It's going to, it's going to relate to them. And it's beautiful, because it's, every cell of the body is like the density, the density is lightening up. It's like lightening up the load. I just want to say one more thing too about the aura analysis. And when I work with clients or people, friends, family members, anybody, including myself, I tell this to myself when I do a scan, and I say this to people: put on like your little science hat, okay, and step out of your identity, your personality. This isn't about you. This isn't personal. You are a combination of information. I mean, the parents you were born to, the DNA, the first 6-7 years of your life, you were in theta, in a hypnotic state, recording everything around you. And now around 95%, you're operating from that system, from what was, put into what we recorded. So there's no bad or right here. There's no good or bad. It's just what comes up on the aura analysis, in my opinion, wants to be seen at that moment. It just wants the awareness. It wants to be acknowledged, because it's also on its way out. That's the other thing. It's like when something comes up, it's actually leaving. Have you ever thought of it that way? So let's say like you're all of a sudden you're having a great day, and then you remember something, and it gives you a certain emotion, and this energy is in motion, and you need to feel it because it's leaving you. It's on its way out. And it needs to be felt. And the more that we say, you know what, you're allowed to be here, it's okay, and just feel it. How does this feel? Not attached to a thought, because the thought is a judgment. It's dense. It has to do with this dualistic, again, this world of good and bad, right or wrong, the programs that we received. It's a really simple process, and it's effortless, and it's like waves of an ocean. It comes in and it comes out. It comes in and it comes out. And there's no blame. Like Doc Steve was saying, you can go really deep into the aura analysis and just see where you copy this piece of information. Ancestors, is it karmic? Is it has to do with action, this lifetime or other lifetimes? It doesn't matter, but we all chose this, in my opinion. We all chose exactly where we are in this moment to who we were born to. And of course, you can have your own beliefs. That doesn't matter. This is just my own personal opinion. And because there's certain things, we need certain experiences in life so we need it, essentially. You know, there's a time where you need to be insecure because you need the experience and the feeling of what does it feel like to be insecure. There's a time where it's time, you know, to be very confident. So you experience what it feels like to be confident. All of it is a beautiful array of flavors and colors and experiences in this world. So that's the main thing I just wanted to address, is that don't take it personally, because the aura analysis can be a little brutal sometimes. It's just like, you know what I mean? If you've done it, it's just like, oh my God, you know, I've had people offended. And I just say it right away, like, listen, this is not about you. Again, be as objective as possible, study yourself, know thyself, right? That is I think the greatest gift the Healy gives us is the ability to, the desire, first of all, the curiosity. This is where curiosity comes into play, because curiosity instantaneously replaces fear. Fear is just the unknown. Whatever we consider a fear is just because we don't know it. As soon as it becomes a known, there's no fear. The fear dissolves. And again, the darkness and fear are synonymous, because in the presence of light, the darkness dissolves. In the presence of awareness, fear dissolves. So, hi, darling. My daughter woke up. You stay right there.
All the time you were speaking, Katarina, curiosity was like, that word was in my mind. And it's so true when we can shift from that. And I think it also requires acceptance, you know, so rather than going into Healy to fix something that is wrong, starting from the point of acceptance.
Yeah.
So cute. And curiosity. And, you know, what would happen what if I do play this program that it's recommending, even though it doesn't make any logical sense to me, and see what happens. I love that. And what a beautiful
the chat here is completely blowing up. The people are absolutely loving talking about this topic and having all of you guys there. I mean, how awesome is it that we have this incredibly beautiful community full of these people that are so full of wisdom and willingly share that with all of us. I can see as well, people are asking, how do we know when these events are on? They happen every Wednesday, by the way. So every Wednesday, in some way, shape or form, we have some kind of panel event on to really help educate the community and to keep shining the light on Healy and what it can really do, whether it's from beauty to fitness to where we have these kind of cosmic conversations. And so every Wednesday that they're on, they do go up in our Facebook group. They also go up on YouTube. They also go up on the Frequency Experience IG page as well, and notified on millions of Telegram groups. So just so you know that there is, and they're always recorded. So, and it really is just to highlight again what an remarkable, beautiful device that we have that really literally is a gift from the universe for us. But also the gift that we get also with this is this incredible community, all of you guys that are on here as well, every single one of you that has so much to share. And so guys, our hour is up. In fact, we have gone over the hour. There's so many more questions I wanted to ask you. I guess we'll have to do it in the next round when we share again next week. Thank you so much, each and every single one of you. Leah, Samaya, Katarina, and Doc Steve, of course. Guys, I'm going to put the gallery on so you can all say thank you to each of these guys here. Thank you so much. And any last words? Doc, you normally got something.
Every moment is brand new. That is one of my favorite things I remind myself daily, is that every single moment is absolutely brand new and has nothing to do with the moment before it. It really doesn't.
I'll just repeat something that Martin Whitman told me over a year and a half ago when I first was getting involved with Healy and was checking it out. He said, Steve, you've only seen the tip of the iceberg in terms of what we have coming for you guys. And having now been involved on the product advisory board, I can tell you that literally what we're presenting here today is literally just the tip of the iceberg. I already have seen what some of the new programs and devices that are coming out in the future. And this is just the start. We have a new one coming out in the next couple of months at the end of September, which I'll refer to as the coaching program, which will allow us now to start to do work, interpersonal relationship work with parents and children and spouses and partners and bosses, and talk about what our life's purpose is, and other things in our life, recreation and other aspects. That's coming as one of the next ones. And of course, there's even more attachments and devices that are coming in the future that are going to work not only with our own self, but with our environment, the space that we work and live in. So there's a lot to come. And again, we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg, guys. It's really exciting.
Absolutely. We've only just begun. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for all of you who tuned in tonight. And yes, the replay will be available. See you guys. See you next Wednesday. I don't know what we even have on next Wednesday. I can't remember, but it'll be something fabulous. And we will definitely get the aura scan where we get more practical stuff. And we'll even share the screens and exactly how you read your auras and how you read other things. So we will be actually diving into more practical uses of how you really use your Healy. So make sure you come with your Healy charged up and ready to go so you can use yourself as a guinea pig. All right. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you very much. This was wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Fantastic.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you, Karen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Steve.
Bye.
Gracias.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Goodbye.